Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for another Instant Deck Tech. So as you know, Wednesday means it's Wildcard Wednesday here in Instant Deck Tech land, and I have to admit, this is one of the wildest decks I have ever seen. This is Marvelous Dragonstorm. Took Makagano Mato to a top 8 finish in a small Japanese tournament. So congrats to Makagato on their finish with the deck. A quick reminder before we break down Marvelous Dragonstorm for Modern. If you enjoy this deck and you want to see it made into videos, take a minute, click the like button, the subscribe button, leave a comment, anything you can do to support your deck, because whichever deck is most popular gets a shot at being made into videos next week. So Marvelous Dragonstorm is built around Dragonstorm. So Dragonstorm is a super powerful effect. It's 9 mana, which is a lot, but you get to copy it for each spell cast before it during the turn. It literally has Storm, and then you get to tutor for a dragon and put it on the battlefield for each copy. So if we can cast this with 2 or 3 or 4 copies, we just get a bunch of dragons, and that should win us the game on the spot. The challenge with Dragonstorm is it's roughly 1,000,000 mana. It's really hard to cast things that cost 9 mana in Modern, but we have a bunch of really unique ways of cheating it into play. First off, we have the Marvelous package. So we have Aetherworks Marvel, Attune with Ether to help fix our mana, Woodweaver's Puzzle Knot, and then Ether Hub to generate energy. So the idea here is we can cast a couple spells, our Puzzle Knots, our Attune with Ethers to generate some Storm count, spin our Marvel. Ideally, we'll hit Dragonstorm and get like 3 or 4 dragons, which is awesome and just wins us a game. In the worst case, we hit one of our many big dragons in the deck, which still isn't a bad hit off Aetherworks Marvel. Just having a big dragon can still sometimes just win us the game on its own. So plan A for cheating out Dragonstorm, Aetherworks Marvel. Plan B is a little bit jankier. So we have Faithless Looting and Thirst for Knowledge, which are kind of dual purpose. They help us dig through our deck, find our Aetherworks Marvels, find our Dragonstorms, whatever we need to combo off. But most importantly, they let us discard cards, which means we can discard our Dragonstorms and then use Sins of the Past or Spell Twine to be able to cast them. So Sins of the Past lets you just cast an instant or sorcery card from our graveyard for 6 mana. So hopefully that'll be Dragonstorm. Hopefully we cast something else along the way that turn, so we get 2 or 3 dragons with it. Spell Twine kind of works the same way, except we also have to have an instant or sorcery in our opponent's graveyard. Ideally, this will just happen naturally, although there is a slight risk if our opponent never plays a Lightning Bolt or Fatal Push or anything, then we won't have a target for it, but it's the same idea. 6 mana, we get to cast our Dragonstorm from our graveyard, hopefully just win the game. Our third plan for casting Dragonstorm is literally just to ramp into it with Lotus Bloom. So Lotus Bloom makes 3 mana. It's a little weird. It's kind of a fixed black Lotus, but it actually has a big upside in our deck because it suspends for 0 mana for 3 turns. So if we can suspend our Lotus Blooms and time things right, it not only is it adding the mana we need to cast our Dragonstorm, but it's also upping our storm count so we can get more dragons with our Dragonstorm and make sure our Dragonstorm is lethal. So we have a million different ways, and we're just hoping we assemble the right ways in the right combination of cards to be able to cast our Dragonstorm. We don't really care what way we do it, but we need one of these ways to work out to be able to win the game. So finally, we have our dragons, and kind of the main combo, if we can cast Dragonstorm and get at least 3 copies, we can tutor out 2 Bogarden Hellkites, and then something like Karthus Tyrant of Jund or Dragonlord Kolaghan to give our dragons haste. So Bogarden Hellkite can just 10 our opponent, then we have 2 5/5 flyers along with the Kolaghan or Karthus, which are also big flyers. We swing with all those. That adds up to over 20 damage on the spot. The nice thing about these is they're also just huge flyers, so if we hit them off of our Aetherworks Marvel, or just randomly ramp into them with our Lotus Blooms, it's not that bad. Like, just hardcasting Bogarden Hellkite or hitting it off Marvel can steal a lot of games if we can do it on like turn 4 on its own. We also have a bunch of backup dragons. Dragonlord Dromoka makes sure our opponent can't interact with our combo, so if we're afraid of our opponent leaving up removal to kill our haste granting dragon or something, we can tutor out the Dromoka, make sure our opponent can't cast spells, also can gain us some life. Dragonlord Ojutai is probably the most reasonable Dragonlord to hardcast in our deck because it's only 5 mana, and then it helps us dig through our deck and find behind our Aetherworks Marvels, our Dragonstorms, all that stuff. And then 1 Nicol Bolas. I am not really sure why Nicol Bolas. I guess it's pretty sweet if it comes down with haste, hits our opponent, makes them discard their hand, make sure they can't recover. But ideally, we would be winning that turn anyway. It might just be a sweet flavor thing to be able to say you won a game with Nicol Bolas in Modern. As far as the mana base, not going to go through everything, but the main idea is we have a ton of different fetches because we're playing like 4 colors, 5 colors. We need Stomping Grounds and other shock lands to be able to cast our stuff, some basic lands, and the Ether Hubs, of course, which not only fix our mana, but generate the energy we need for our Marvel plan. In the sideboard, we got more dragons. Stormbreath Dragon and Thunderbreak Regent give us more dragons that are actually possible to hardcast because they're only 4 and 5 mana, and they're pretty powerful, so we can kind of sideboard into a less combo-centric build and more of a big flyer beatdown build if the situation calls for it. Then we have some additional ways to cheat our dragons into play, so if Marvel's not going to work, or we don't think we can get to Dragonstorm, we can use Bring to Light to just get Stormbreath, get Dragonlord Ojutais. We can also Gifts Ungiven for a dragon of our choosing and Unburial Rites and just reanimate it, which is another quicker way to get 1 dragon on the battlefield if we don't think we can Dragonstorm. And then a couple of weird creatures. Not sure the idea of Goblin Dark Dwellers. We don't really have much to flash back. I guess we got a Tune with Ethers, kind of something that we can flash back. And then Vidalian Click to kind of Thoughtseize our opponent. Make sure they don't have a counter spell to deal with maybe our Lotus Bloom, our Aetherworks Marvel, something like that. And then Foul Tongue Invocation gives us a bit of dragon-centric removal and Ancient Grudge to deal with Affinity, other artifacts on the battlefield. And that is Marvelous Dragonstorm for Modern, and that's our Wildcard Wednesday instant deck tech for this week. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, help us out by clicking that like button down below. And to keep up on all the latest and greatest, click that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit that bell icon to get alerts whenever we have new videos. And if you want to, check out some of our other sweet videos here and here.